Go to the customer,
Mm-hmm.
look at what they want,
Mm.
then integrate backwards to go and build the solution. So when starting with the technology,
Yeah.
it's possible you get so engrossed with your technology that you forget the customer that's going to use the technology and pay for it. I think it was Henry Ford who said this, that if he had asked the market what they wanted, they would have wanted maybe a faster horse. But he did not ask them, he just went ahead to design a car. Technology can be applicable in any part of the world,
Yeah.
but the environment is a major contributor
Mm-hmm.
to the success and failure of any business.
Hello and welcome back to the Digital Shift series. I'm your host, Jeremiah, and on today's episode, we're discussing building solutions the market loves. Only 1 in 10 tech products will actually survive past year one. How do we beat the odds? Joining me today to discuss that is none other than Senior Partnerships Analyst Oyinda Mola Jibaye. Oyinda, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be
All
here.
right.
Yeah.
So this has been a growing trend, a growing, how do I say this now? Pattern. When it comes to tech solutions, be they products or services, in the first 3 months, oh, X, Y, and Z has come out with so and so solution. It's promising to solve one, two, and three for this target client. Why is it? First 5 months, there's so much buzz, there's so much heat, there's so much excitement. By before we even get to December, we're hearing news about how the whole operation has closed up, everything has been shelved, it's gone into whether it's bankruptcy or whatnot, or the whole direction has shifted altogether.
Mm.
Why is it that most tech solutions, be they product or services, fail within the first year? Why is it that they always crash and burn? There's this like short outburst of like blazing glory and energy, and then they fizzle out after.
Okay, I'll start by saying this. For me, from my study and from the personal research I've done,
Mm-hmm.
and from things I've been able to read and other people's research work, I've been able to see that for every product you need to know if the market wants the product.
Yeah.
One, if the product is that is it's solving a problem that the market wants. Two, uh, it is viable, because at the end of the day you are not running a charity organization.
Fact.
So
Super fact.
is it viable? Is it something that is going to bring in recurring revenue such that you can take out profit and reinvest into the business? And thirdly, is there a technology that is there a feasible technology to ensure that that product can get to the customer, the consumer that will be paying for that product? So sometimes people, when you have a solution that is not
Yeah.
ticking these boxes,
Mm-hmm.
aside the operational issues that might be happening internally for
Mm.
in the team that set up this companies or this product that is leading the development of the product. So
Mm-hmm.
if a product is starting and they don't have a clear solution they are bringing to the customer, when I say customer, not just any customer,
Mm.
customers that can pay for it. So that's
Yeah.
another issue. You are
That's an
you are you are
issue.
building a solution, you are building a product for customers. Can they actually pay for it? Because you need their money as revenue to reinvest to ensure that the day-to-day activity of the company, of the product company,
Mm-hmm.
is running, and also the technology needed to ensure that that loop continues is there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just want to lean towards those 3 points for now, as why a lot of products actually don't last beyond the first year.
What about environmental context? Sometimes I don't think they take that into consideration. Like in one example, we have a logistics as a service solution that was
Okay.
released. Talked about it was the big rave at the time. You know, farmers can essentially get their products directly to your doorstep. It was a middleman type solution, and all of a sudden we hear that after like Series A and B funding, closed up shop completely. I drove past that their headquarters, no one inside. It was not operational whatsoever. And then you also have another situation where it's really all just smokes and mirrors. Take for
Mhm.
example Theranos.
Okay.
At the time that
Okay.
was promising to basically revolutionize how
Healthcare.
healthcare,
Yeah.
how people basically get all their test readings
Diagnosis.
from
Yeah.
just a drop of one blood.
Yeah.
You know, it was such a wild idea that people didn't take a step back to say, how does this actually work,
Yeah.
and scrutinize it.
Yeah.
So I really do think those are part of the things that people need to actually look at first before you actually start talk. You need to start from the answer and go back to the question, in
Yes.
a sense, like start from what people are lacking and then
Yes.
go back to how you solve that.
Yeah. So this is how I see business. Not just this is not just restricted to tech businesses.
Yes.
So I see business from the angle of like what Steve Jobs said. I'm going to quote him not perfectly now. He said, um, "Go to the customer,
Mm-hmm.
look at what they want, then integrate backwards to go and build the solution or the
Word.
technology." So when starting with the technology,
Yeah.
it's possible you get so engrossed with your technology that you forget the customer that's going to use the technology and pay for it. So the answer lies with the customer. Go understand your market. They know what they want, and I want to add a little twist to this. Not businesses are not just things that solve problems.
Mm.
They also add value to existing value.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So like,
that's a new
yeah,
spin. That's a new.
yeah. So like you have a wristwatch already.
Okay.
You can check your time with a $1 wristwatch, and
Yeah.
you can buy a $2,000 wristwatch. It's not
Okay.
solving any problem that the $1 wristwatch is not solving.
Okay.
It's only adding more value in quotes.
Okay.
So
In
so
terms of
if
status and so
yeah,
on and
yeah.
so forth. Yeah.
So that's it. So environment should be considered, which is the market. The most for me, the most important factor
Mm.
in business, be it tech, be it the brick and mortar
Mm.
businesses, is the market. That is the environment. When you mention the environment,
Mm-hmm.
technology can be applicable in any part of the world,
Yeah.
but the environment is a major contributor
Mm-hmm.
to the success and failure of any business, be it tech or
Okay.
others.
Okay. Now you said so much about the environment, what the actual customer wants, how viable, how feasible. What about execution? There's a saying, we don't really rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And I think that applies even in tech businesses and how they go about taking a concept
Okay.
to reality. They said the difference between what's it called? Ideation and realization, or actualization, is execution.
Yeah.
Concerning execution, what do you think? Could that be part of the reason why some tech businesses, some tech products start well and then fall off midway?
Yeah, execution. I started from the angle of design thinking,
Yeah.
where I mentioned the customer, a paying customer,
Mm-hmm.
then the viability, then the technology.
Yeah.
So the execution is more like the what combines everything together, the operations. I'll
So
call
the
it.
time to market.
Yes, the time to market is part of it. The team
Mm-hmm.
that will execute is also part of them. Is also part of that stream. So when you have beyond those three things I've mentioned,
Mm.
we also talked about pricing, which is part of the variability. They now have to talk about the execution. Who are the people who are going to ensure that this business model meets the need or the wants of the customer with the right technology? You may have a good business model, know what the customer wants, but you are not executing well. Like Peter Drucker said, culture will eat strategy for
For
breakfast.
breakfast,
So
yeah.
if a company building a product does not have a good culture for execution, that is, it takes, for example, timing,
Mm.
because timing is also a major factor why products fail. A lot of companies did not time their products well. So if the company building these products don't have a good execution
Mm-hmm.
driven culture,
Mm.
it's going to stall, it's going to destroy their products, it's going to destroy the company, even though they have a good business model. The market is there for them to sell to, and they have the right technology. So execution plays, like you rightly mentioned,
Mm.
play a major role
Mm.
in a company or a product becoming successful or not.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest problems, especially for founders, is that they tend to put themselves in a silo
Yeah.
when it comes to the relation between them and their like
The
innovative
idea.
idea
Yes.
or product solution, whatever you want to call it, is they're so wrapped up in the features and
Yeah.
what it does and the
Yeah.
technology behind it that they get lost and
Yeah,
they get lost concerning the user journey and experience. They almost put themselves in the driver's seat of the user and forget about the user entirely.
yeah,
They actually just don't think about anyone else in that instance other than themselves. And they carry on with that mindset. And sometimes, in most cases, some solutions, when you test it into the
yeah,
market and realize, oh, actually, the market is not biting,
yeah,
this is actually not what it wants. It sometimes causes you to take a step back and say, we need a new mind shift. We need a change in direction.
yeah,
And that's difficult for some founders because they spend so much time wrapped up somewhere in some office in a corner, spending hours and hours trying to get this to MVP level. And they just can't seem to separate themselves from the feedback and just keep it pushing.
yeah. So for this is the advice I give to people that I know who are founding, who are building businesses,
Mm-hmm.
is that they should be flexible
Mm-hmm.
with their ideas.
Mm.
Ideas are good, execution is better, is even the best. So while building things, or even after launch,
Mhm.
study how your users, your customers, your paying customers particularly,
Engage.
how they engage your product.
Yeah.
Learn from them, may possibly ask them for feedback
Mm-hmm.
on how you can get better, because they will be the one to pay for your product like
At the end of
insane. At the end of the
exactly.
day, the viability of the product
Mm.
matters a lot. Even if you've raised series A, B, C, and D, and they are not using paying for your product is good. There's nothing wrong with your product from your angle, but they just don't want it.
Mm.
So customer, keep studying the customer. And I want to cite this, and I think it was Henry Ford who said this, that if he had asked his customers what they wanted, or if he had asked the market what they wanted in the days of the cart and the horse, they would have wanted maybe a faster horse. But he did not ask them. He just went ahead to design a car. Yes, I want to be sure it was one who said that
Yeah.
now. So, so there's a step to there's let me say a higher level to you asking your customer. In as much as you are asking them for their feedback,
Mm-hmm.
you as a product person, because you are innovative, or
Mm-hmm.
the product team, you are not just giving them something, maybe 1x of what they have asked for.
Yeah.
Try to improve on
Yeah.
it. So that's why we have models, frameworks in product management, like the
Okay.
Scamper, where you
Yeah.
can substitute, you can adapt, you
Mm-hmm.
can raise, you can even 10x the value that the customer, the
Mm-hmm.
consumers are expecting you to give them. So instead of him giving them a horse, a faster horse,
Mm-hmm.
and also note,
You've got to stress test the feedback that they're giving you
yes,
because after going back on the
yes,
feedback and improving, you've now
yes,
got to stress test that
good. And
solution,
also
that
ask,
upgrade
is
itself.
this possible?
Yeah.
There was no way you could have gotten horse that would be 2 times faster
Mm-hmm.
than the fastest horse then, because
Mm-hmm.
horses were, they are natural creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you change their DNA and everything, they won't be as fast as the cars we have today.
Okay.
So that's where the technology bit of it comes in.
I know.
Understand what your customers
Some
want.
host lovers may disagree with you, but carry on.
Okay, I'm open. I'm open to disagreements, and we can always have that conversation. So
Okay.
understand what your customers want
Mm-hmm.
and give them real value. Value like 10x possibly of what they're actually asking.
Okay.
So I would like to say this as we close, that transformation in Africa starts with execution, and you cannot execute well if you don't know your environment. So we should start by solving our own problems, because we are closer to our problems than anybody. We are closer to our problems, and that gives us a better view of our problems. We know how to solve them. We know what the root cause of our problems.
Mm.
We've been with those problems for years. We've studied, we understand those problems. So solving them should not be difficult for us. So when we are solving those problems, and it helps to create value internally. So when we now get investment, maybe external investment or internal investment, it helps to broaden the value we are
Mm-hmm.
giving. And from there, a lot of products, as you're solving problems, products are coming up, you're building excellent teams, you are solving, you're transforming Africa, you transform a community,
Mm-hmm.
transform a state, transform a country,
Mm.
and before you know, we have transformed the continent.
Mm.
So it's going to begin with us. Thank you.
Ben Namola, thank you so much for coming on the
Yeah.
program.
Thanks.